Yo, what is up guys, Ghost here. So today I want to talk about Battlefield 2042 Season 3. The name has been revealed by Temporal and according to him, it's called Escalation, which is an interesting name to choose. It suggests that the world of Battlefield 2042 is going to get even darker, something the game has been critiqued for not showing enough of, in fact. It could also point to an increase in severe weather, so who knows, maybe we'll be seeing an escalation in that regard as well. Now, if we go by the weekly Battle Pass missions, believe it or not, there is only 2 weeks of Season 2 remaining. The reset is today, and if you haven't seen the weekly missions yet, they are as follows. So in the first tier, we've got damage inflicted with the Ranger or Boris's sentry gun, kind of a lame one there, if I'm honest. That's going to be a pain for me. Enemies disrupted with EMP or Rouse Cyber Suite, and then objectives neutralized and captured. Nice and easy there. And then moving on to tier 2, we've got kills and enemies spotted as Pike, enemies spotted and spot assist with the recon drone, and then finally intel and wingman ribbons earned. Thank God this week it's just a total of 6 ribbons, not 6 ribbons earned within a round, because I don't remember what week it was, but that one was difficult, man. It was difficult. DICE, it's too many ribbons, DICE. Then we have vehicles and equipment destroyed and kills and assists with armored vehicles, and then finally the bonus mission, kills and enemies spotted. So kind of a mixed bag this week. Some of them really annoy me. I'm not a big fan of missions that make me play like a certain specialist. I don't really ever play Boris, so having to use like a Ranger or a sentry gun is a major pain for me. Same with the recon drone, I don't really like using it, so yeah, maybe less of those guys and more of the sort of generic, you know, revive people, play the objective, that sort of stuff. Now, assuming that Season 3 begins right after Season 2 ends, that will give us the date of November the 22nd, and if that's correct, we can expect to start getting some new info drops from DICE this week or the next. So I thought it could be fun if we go over what we know we're getting in Season 3, and then I've also got a few wishes of my own that I certainly hope we'll get to see. Aside from the obvious single new map, a new specialist and some new vault weapons, we are of course getting the class system. So here we'll see specialists be put into one of the 4 classes, have their gadget selections limited to that class, but also gain a class gadget of their own. So the system isn't final yet. Last we knew, DICE were still making changes and running playtests. But for example, the Assault class or the Assault specialists all have the med pen, and the Engineer specialists all have the repair tool as standard. Unlike the classes from past games, however, they have opted to forego the weapon limitations and have instead given each class a weapon proficiency for a certain weapon category to encourage you to pick a weapon from within that category, while still giving you the option to take any weapon in the game. So I'm sure that's going to be a big improvement to the game. Next up, map reworks. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I seem to recall the next reworks coming are going to be for Breakaway and Hourglass. As we know, Kaleidoscope, Renewal and Orbital have all been done, so that only leaves Breakaway, Hourglass, Discarded and Manifest. Of those 4 maps, I would say that Discarded is by far the best map. In fact, I would go so far as to say it was one of my favourites of all of the base maps, followed then by Manifest, then Breakaway, and lastly, dead last, Hourglass. Hourglass is just, I mean, I'm not going to go beat around the bush here, it's pretty terrible. The amount of open areas, etc., you guys know that anyways. So yeah, in terms of reworks, that's what I would expect to see. Now, this next one has been at the top of my list since the game came out, and that is vehicles. We all know the vehicle saga. DICE made the vehicles way too easy to use, too overpowered, and instead of balancing them individually on a map-by-map basis and balancing the individual weapons, they just slashed the total number of available vehicles until there are barely any left. Indeed, there is only 1 air attack vehicle and 1 ground attack vehicle per team. I think there used to be something like 4 of each, and that's in a large game of 64 v 64 Conquest. This is a massive issue for me. A big part of Battlefield is the vehicle play, and at the moment, if you want any chance in hell of snagging a helicopter, let's say, you just have to camp the spawn screen and spam click the entire time. That's really what it's come down to. Having a wingman in the sky is a thing of the past, and even seeing a single jet has become a pretty rare occurrence since the helicopters are far superior. I won't get into detail on this system since I've already made a whole video on that subject, but if you guys want to go and check it out and hear my ideas for vehicles in Battlefield games, then it's up there available in the corner. Now, in past Battlefield briefings, DICE have mentioned that they're looking into splitting the vehicle categories up a bit. For example, taking the jets out of the air attack vehicles and giving them their own category. Now, if it were up to me, it'd be done the Battlefield 4 way. Each vehicle would have its own spawn timer, and whether that vehicle was present on a map/game mode or not would depend on balance. However, we all know that's almost definitely not going to happen at this stage in the game's lifecycle, so the best I can hope for is that jets will be put into their own category. Now, speaking of jets, so far we've had a new helicopter in Season 1, a new ground attack vehicle in Season 2, so could Season 3 be bringing us a new jet? The attack jets or bombers from previous games have been sorely missed by many, and it could really tie in nicely with giving jets their own category. Then you'd have one ground attack vehicle, one helicopter out of the three, and then also one jet. And you could choose then between the current fighter jets and presumably like a brand new attack jet. That'd be my wish, at least. Temporal recently discovered motorbikes are coming to Portal at some point, but I sincerely hope this isn't the new vehicle for Season 3. If it is, I'm going to be well disappointed. Now, there is another possibility, a railgun tank. Some of you may recall that a couple of weeks ago, DICE made a bit of a blunder by tweeting out a short video showing off the M16A3 Volt weapon. However, keen-eyed Battlefielders soon noticed that there was an unusual vehicle in the background. A tank with a shorter, fatter, more blocky barrel. Now, the quality is very bad since this was ripped from a Twitter video, but you can see the blast has a bluish colour to it as well. This led players to believe DICE had accidentally leaked a future vehicle, possibly a railgun tank which would actually fit Battlefield 2042's future narrative. To make them look even more suspicious, they then quickly deleted the tweet once they realised their mistake. On the other hand, this could simply be nothing more than a skin. Now finally, here I'm certain we'll be seeing some new Vault weapons, of course, this season. Temporal keeps on digging up more stuff there too, so newly he's found references to the Spaz 12, the AN-94, the M98B, the UMP-45, the USUS 12, and more. All of them unreleased Portal weapons. So who knows, perhaps there are some worthy candidates there that could become Vault weapons for Season 3. However, for me, Vault weapons need to see some changes, because currently they feel like a bit of a gimmick. You have some fun unlocking one, play a round or two with it, and then you're pretty much done with it. Okay, there are some exceptions. I hear the Gol Magnum is pretty OP, so you do see people using that one from time to time. But from most of your guys' comments and the way I feel, you all seem to want Battlefield 2042 attachments for the Vault weapons, so that they're a little bit more on par, they're brought into line with what you're used to. And almost even more importantly to me, DICE really need to make some mastery skins for them. Currently there is just very little incentive to pick one of these weapons up and stick with it. Not when you could be working towards your next mastery skin on a gun that actually has one available. Of course, I'm, aware not everyone is a completionist or cares about unlocking skins at all, but I really feel like introducing those two things for Vault weapons would do a lot more good than bad. That's what I hope to see in Season 3. Thank you for watching so much. If you're still there and you've made it this far, leave me your own Season 3 wishes down below, and if you enjoyed, then consider hitting that big grey button down there for future Season 3 coverage. Cheers.